What do you take away from this, especially for Echo Fox, who came so close, but came up short?
Yeah, I mean, it can be tough, right? You know, when you're looking at it from Echo Fox's point of view, Huni was sick. I think they're going to have that kind of weighing heavily on their minds and happy to have a shot at redemption here. And I'm kind of the opinion that despite Huni's sickness, it felt like it was Echo Fox's series to lose. They were up 2-1. It felt like they had control in most of the games. I believe they're only behind in gold in the early game, 1 out of 5 of the games. So we'll see if they can perform better and close it out here today.
All right, as the champions make their way onto Summoner's Rift, let's check in with a sideline report with Ovely and ThinkCard.
Thanks, guys. You guys are coming off of the momentum of yesterday's 3-0 win, but what makes you so confident that Echo Fox is going to take over today's rematch compared to last time?
Well, in our best of 5 against TSM in quarters, Huni was sick. We didn't have the best practice leading up to it. So we do feel like we're at a stronger form right now. And we feel like just all together we're playing better. So I expect this series to be more competitive for us and show that we're a more respected team than our performance in quarters.
Thanks. Wishing you the best of luck. Back to the casters.
Minions have spawned.
There we go, talking about the differences between that series and this one, the preparation, the status of your top laner. I mean, everybody's been at that point in their life before. When you get sick, you just think back to the times where you weren't sick and how easy everything was back then. Like
Had it
moving,
so good.
breathing, and eating, and just generally existing.
Yeah.
Everything's harder when you're sick, man. And if Huni was feeling that way, I want to see what that does to impact him in this series when he can truly shine.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point as well. He mentioned the practice, right? If you are missing a lot of days of scrim time because you don't have your top laner there to practice because he's feeling too ill, that is certainly a very, very big deal there, as well as a lot of trading here. Very aggressive stuff in the mid lane. And both of these guys are running Inspiration Secondary. They're going to be running Time Warp Tonic. They are starting with that Corrupting Potion, so a lot of sustain to be had, but you always have to be careful because these low HP numbers will really draw the attention of the junglers, and certainly I favor Xin Zhao in any potential 2v2 early on.
That'll definitely pull their attention towards that area of the map, and I always like to see players play aggressively. I love just that playmaking, be the guy who takes things into your control, sets the pace of the game attitude. But even more so when you look at the matchup between the players, when you've got Demonte going up against Bjergsen, you've got this guy who's still relatively new blood going up against one of the most well-known, if not the most well-known name in the North American LCS. And to be able to just walk up and say, okay, I know I can go head-to-head with this guy, let's trade aggressively, that's a promising sign for me when I'm looking at this mid laner for Echo.
Yeah, it really is. And Bjergsen just playing intelligently. You could see he was playing to the top side of the lane. And that is simply because, as Demonte, you're level 2, he's level 3, and you just walked into a full minion wave plus a cannon there. That was I
said I like aggro,
trade.
but maybe not that much aggro. You got to temper it a little bit.
At least wait until you hit level 3, but maybe he's just thinking, okay, I'm going to go back to base anyway. But likely doesn't have a good buy yet, so definitely not what you want to see happen there if you are an Echo Fox fan or Demonte. But you know, the ward on the bottom side, it was actually a ward by bot lane, spotted Dardoch going up to Scuttle, which meant Bjergsen then placed the top side of that lane, which then means he avoids any potential gank. So these little things really do make a big difference, and so much of this professional game comes down to vision control.
Dardoch trying to steal away some of these Krugs from Grig. Now, for those of you who are not aware, Skarner outside of Spires is very much akin to a melee minion. And going up against something like Xin Zhao, you are not going to have a good time.
No.
You lose that fight 101 out of 100 times. There's one time you're going to lose it twice.
There you go.
Do not want anything to do with him. Grig's just going to walk up, make sure he secures that Krug, and stay the hell away from Dark.
And that's why, again, you know, vision becomes so important. If your team can track where Xin is, and Xin is not dying, well, like you say, if it's level 2 or level 3 you run into Xin, well, you're not feeling so good.
No.
If by the time you're 6 or 7, Xin hasn't killed anyone and you're farming
cruising.
You're feeling great.
You're fantastic.
So that is really what Grig is going to be looking for, just trying his best to avoid any real fully committed fights while he farms up and hits 6. But that is partially why you see Dardoch playing aggressively, trying to take away some camps from his opponent, and being able to go for both of those scuttles as well is going to mean that as he clears the rest of the map, he is going to be up in experience.
Grig clears out some of his own Raptors. Neither jungler has really found an opportunity to do a whole lot just yet. Bottom side, it's lost, taking some damage, but Mithy's going to be forced back now as well. Down to about 100 HP. Summoner spells still all 4 standing for both sides.
I think he actually was dead if that piercing arrow hit. That was so close to him, actually. Just barely missed, and With that W active, I think it would have been a kill. There's double cleanse. It's not like there's a heal available to actually save him. So that was pretty close to being a first blood in the 2v2. And TSM have got to be careful down here.
And for Sven and Mythy, remember these guys are coming over from winning so much in Europe, being a part of the G2 lineup that just dominated that region. They come over to TSM, they're creating this, what everybody sees as a super team of collecting the best talent in the West and putting it all together with the goal of doing well in international competition, succeeding where they weren't able to previously find that success, and it just hasn't been there so far. And especially, Mythy's had some rough games throughout the season. It seemed like he hasn't had the coordination with the rest of the team. He's been caught out at different times. Things have not gone the way they wanted them to. So this bottom lane in particular is two guys that I'm always looking at in these TSM games to say, all right, when are we going to see that step up? When are we going to see those championship level plays? Because they have showcased them, and when they do, it does look damn impressive.
Yeah, it really does. And I would say often when they're showcasing them is the late game team fights. I think that Sven is exceptional with his team fighting, mid game, late game. So that is certainly often why they kind of play this more passive style. And you can see 3-man mid here looking for Bjergsen.
The horn, baby! Under the turret they go, and first blood goes into Dardoch. But it's a return kill. Bjergsen goes ahead, pops off the ulti just to make sure.
Nice proactive play there from EchoFox, but honestly, if you're Bjergsen, you'll take that. You got 3 members mid, the ultimate out from Huni on that roam, and Dardoch's flash, and you traded back a kill, so pretty damn good. And Haunter trying to zone Huni away from some of these minions. Pretty explosive start there.
And I mean, I mentioned that last time Bjergsen lost with this pick against EchoFox, but he's got an amazing record with it. It's because he knows the potential of his champion.
Yeah, and this was honestly a really nice ultimate there from Huni, getting the redirect right onto him. But Bjergsen gets his combo down, drops the ultimate, and that, in addition to the turret, is able to burst down Dardoch and trade back a kill. So gold remains just about even off of the play. But it's good to see EchoFox being proactive, especially when you do have that Ornn. You love to see the Ornn getting out of lane, looking for plays around jungle, looking for plays around mid lane, because that ultimate can be so powerful. And you're not really going to need it for the 1v1 against Aatrox, where it's very unlikely you will be getting a solo kill here.
I mean, why would you be looking to go into a real 1v1 against him? Anyway, Demonte trying to go in now with the portal. Once again, EchoFox looking for Bjergsen, trying to keep him down.
Yeah, that scatter was very nice. Got to throw a little bit of criticism the way of Smoothie, though. No Black Shield coming out that I saw. Perhaps could have actually Black Shielded Dardoch and allowed him to have that time to close the gap. Instead, it's TSM. With that failed play mid lane from EchoFox, they're going to start up the Infernal, and it looks like it will just be there as the Dardoch is up on the top side of the map by the blue quadrant, clearing his wolves. So, well played here to TSM.
First Infernal Drake over to your team just 8 minutes in. Feels very good for this TSM squad. In game number 1, when these two teams played in the quarterfinals, actually, it was a big fight that broke out around the first Drake that set EchoFox behind for the majority of that first game. And obviously, they learned their lesson from last time. This is what I'm talking about, adaptations. Even though it's an Infernal Drake, man, that thing looks juicy. You want to get in there. You want to fight for that. But there was no way they were going to get in. Nobody tried to do anything. Concede it and move on.
Yep, they are going to be able to grab that for themselves on the side of TSM. And it's interesting to see Greg here also going for challenging smite on the Skarner. And, very often you do see the chilling smite, people, wanting the extra move speed, being able to close the gap and get those ultimates off. But this is going to be a bit better dueling against the Xin Zhao. If Xin Zhao is going to be invading you and getting up in your face, you have a better chance at skirmishing. Maybe you're going from melee minion to a cannon?
Yep, you big old cannon minion now. The way I always like to describe it is, at least in solo queue, Chilling Smite's probably a 4 out of 5 games buy for Skarner. The remaining game is one where you're up against something that is a capable duelist, like a Xin Zhao, like a Graves or something similar, and you know that if you get into a fight with this guy, you are going to need that extra armor that being a cannon minion will provide, or the power of a red smite if we're talking in actual gameplay terms. So I like the pickup for fighting against the Xin Zhao. Of course, you've also got your big initiations coming out from your Rakan to make sure that you can still get pulls off once the team fights come around. The Chilling Smite won't be missed in that regard. But EchoFox is still a team that's scrappy, Azale. This is still a team that we have known for just always looking for where can we win a fight? How can we set up a fight? And that's still what I'm constantly looking for from them this time around.
Yeah, and they have been trying to find those fights, but as the observers were just showing us, the vision has been very, very good for TSM. I mean, there was a ward in the far brush in the lane, so Dardoch couldn't go for a lane gank. There was a ward in tri brush, so he can't come from that approach. They have the scuttle control, so he can't come through the river. There's nowhere that he can go to actually get down to that bottom lane, because they were looking to actually combo with Smoothie and Lost now that they have hit level 6. If you can hit the Varus ultimate into a Binding, into a Xin Zhao, into a Morgana ultimate, there's so much.
You're dead before that sentence is done, man.
Exactly.
So deadly if they can chain that CC together. But so far, like you said, TSM's doing a good job of just stalling, buying that time, allowing themselves to get to that late game team fight you were talking about, where Sven and Mythic can really shine and show off the caliber of players that they are. And we know that Bjergsen on this Syndra can do the same thing, putting down the damage. Of course, when you also look across the board at Echo Fox, you do have Lost on this Varus pick that, as you mentioned in Champion Select, is one of his signature picks. This is the champion that this guy can work his magic on, as Demonte finds himself stunned up by the Scatter of the Weak. Grig's not going to go any further there. Demonte's flash will be prize enough. Dardoch hanging around to the side means they're not going to go in any further. Huni looking to find the 1v1 here onto Haunter, brings him low. Oh, say it ain't so.
Ooh, you hate to see it happen.
You really do. You really do. Pause comes down. Not sure as to the exact reason yet. We'll keep you guys updated as we get information. Right as Haunter falls down to, let me check what that is, 41 HP.
It's not a lot, but he does have his ultimate active. He actually popped it before he got hit by the Ornn Horn there. So he will be reviving, and then the question is just if Huni can kill him again after that. And the answer, spoiler, is very, very low chance, because he's already used all his abilities to actually get him this low. So you are expecting Haunter to kind of slink away, maybe be forced back to base, but Huni laning aggressively here, and certainly looking like he is on form, at least in game number 1.
You know why this is happening, right? This solo kill? Because earlier we said there's no way that Ornn solo kills Aatrox.
He's not solo killing him. He's forcing cooldown.
He's forcing his ultimate. All right, sure. He's just forcing the ultimate out instead. But either way, Haunter's on the losing end of this one. He'll likely be downed into that pseudo Guardian Angel form when the game does resume. But if you look at the state of the rest of the game, jungle farm pretty much dead even, which, as you mentioned earlier, does favor Grig on the Skarner as he's going to scale. He'll be able to do more in the fights later. Mid lane, very even between these two. Bottom lane, it's an advantage for Lost. But again, talking about what Sven and Mythic can do later on in the game, we're going blow for blow in the first 11 minutes of this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's 100 gold or even less that separates these two teams. And Bjergsen did request a pause there, so that is why we are paused up, and that is why we have our wonderful Donald investigating on the scene. He's going to be fixing it up, no problem. But hopefully we'll be able to get back into it very quickly, and hopefully there's no major issues. And when you do talk about an even game, then you have to start looking at, okay, well, who does team fighting favor? Who does the late game favor? And both teams kind of have, I think, their strengths and weaknesses in that regard. When you talk about a Xin Zhao versus a Skarner, in the team fights, you generally would rather have that Skarner, I would certainly think, as you're getting towards the later stages. Aatrox versus the Ornn, if it's a head-on team fight, you'd think you'd much rather have the Ornn. For Aatrox to really be effective in those teams fights, you have to either get a flank or be in a side lane or do something like that. But really, it's fairly even, I would say, down the line. Zyra Khan, incredibly strong team fighters. Morgana and the Varus obviously can be as well. There's a lot of kind of team fight power, as well as the ability to 1-3-1 on kind of both these teams, or even 1-4, because you could send Ryze out to match Aatrox. So there's a lot of flexibility in these teams, and I think certainly no clear scaling advantage to either side.
And I'm going to keep my eyes especially on Smoothie as we get into these big team fights, because once again, we're going to approach this from the point of view of someone who only plays one champion. Skarner versus Morgana is a game of mind games.
Yeah.
Constantly. You're always trying to jockey for positioning where you threaten onto two potential different targets at a minimum with your flash ult so that you make Morgana guess, and in the split second that she has to guess between whoever it is she has to save, you go for the other one. That's the entire mental game between Morgana and Skarner as the game goes on. And Smoothie, I applauded him earlier during Champion Select, saying, I've seen this guy come in with clutch saves on picks like Tom Kench, doing things to keep teammates alive when otherwise they're dead to rights. And this game, it's his responsibility to make sure he's shielding those value targets and keeping them away from Grig's ult.
And I would say if it was just the Skarner that he had to worry about, then hey, you should expect him to get it more times than not.
Yeah.
But when there's also the Recon Engage, when there's also Scatter the Weak, when there's magic damage that can be coming through to actually break that up, it becomes very, very difficult. Because as you say, yeah, Skarner can be flashing forward, as Mithy can be alt engaging on someone else, as Bjergsen is hitting a Scatter the Weak and one-shotting someone else. It becomes very, very difficult. And you can say, oh, well, just Black Shield early. But that's going to get broken by one spell here from the Syndra. So certainly a lot to think about here for Smoothie. And I think that Morgana is a very, very strong pick in the 2 versus 2. But we'll see if he can actually find that effectiveness in the team fighting, because that comes down more to how he's able to play it out.
Quick update for you guys. We'll be getting back into game here in just a couple of minutes. The issues are being resolved pretty quickly from what I'm being told, so it shouldn't be too much longer before we are back on Summoner's Rift, getting this game going once more. But we talked about Smoothie. We talked about the junglers a little bit. We talked about the top laners because, of course, where they're sitting. But now I want to talk about the mid laners, because I want to go back to what we were discussing earlier when I brought up Bjergsen and the Syndra and the fact that he lost on this champion in the last series against Echo Fox in the quarterfinals. And when I was rewatching this series and I was just sort of trying to look at trends and why things were happening and how they seemed similar, Bjergsen won on champions that he had autonomy with. He won on Irelia twice, and he won on LeBlanc. Champions that don't need anybody to hang around and protect them, support them, do anything. The champions he lost with were Syndra and Azir, which, although they can make plays on their own, are specifically more vulnerable than something like LeBlanc or Irelia when left alone. And so what I want to see from this series, from TSM, is if you're going to put Bjergsen on a pick where he can potentially be vulnerable, do not allow him to fall into one of those positions of vulnerability.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a really good point. And if you can protect Bjergsen on this Syndra, he will reward you with those proactive plays later on. He will find stuns. He will zero people out. I mean, it's his most played champion is 59 plays before this game. Almost a 70% win rate. 69.5% win rate is
in
pretty
pro
ridiculous.
Play.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't hit those numbers in solo queue.
yeah. Well, at least I don't.
I don't hit
does.
those. No, yeah, okay, yeah. Maybe all right. Maybe Bjergsen does, but your average run-of-the-mill good player at League of Legends isn't even going to have those high of numbers. I mean, you have a 55 in something. That's a very solid win rate.
Yeah, definitely, at least over a long number of games. But either way, it is one of his most successful champions. It is one of his most comfortable champions. And you're putting Demonte, who is relatively inexperienced, up against Bjergsen, who has been considered by many to be the greatest player of all time in the LCS. And not only that, he's on his best champ.
Whew, it's a hard situation to be in, but Echo Fox are confident that they can be able to walk away with the win here. Like what we heard from ThinkCard when he was talking to Avali before the games. They think the preparation, the difference in the state of their top laner, multiple factors will contribute into making this series come out different than the last one, which, remember the last one, I mean, we're talking about the fact that Echo Fox lost it, but this wasn't a 3-0 TSM stomp. The shortest one was 28 minutes, the longest one was 38 minutes, and still it went the distance. It was a slugfest down to the very end, and now we're back into the game. 11 minutes, cresting 12 minutes now as we make our way in. Let's take another look at that fight that got interrupted top lane.
Yeah, here is the play up on the top side once more. Huni able to get Haunter fairly low, has the ultimate available, hits the R2, but you can see Haunter pre-pops his ultimate, knowing he may have enough damage to actually get knocked down, and does not actually even proc the ultimate there, as Huni doesn't want to give him that additional life back, so going to be able to heal back up. That's the thing. I mean, Orin has maybe a small chance to actually burst you down, but if he can't do that, he likely is not going to win once those abilities are on cooldown, and TSM calling for that lane swap early on, looking to get out of that 2v2. They have the Stormrazor complete here on Sven, and we'll see if they want to try to go for a dive. I mean, you can see Demonte cheating up here, but there's 4 men from TSM, and I think at the very least they're going to get first turret. This is honestly a really nice move, taking your losing 2v2 bot lane and getting yourself a first turret on the top side.
They've got Griggs shadowing this as well. If Huni tries to stick around at all, he will definitely die in the 1 versus 4, and that means TSM will collect their first turret gold bounty. Giving that one over brings them up to a nice little bit of a gold lead that will be mostly equalized by the return turret take in the bottom side from Echo Fox, but the first turret bonus is the advantage TSM walks away with at the end of the day. Grig now onto the Rift Herald. Hopefully he doesn't make the same mistake Echo Fox made yesterday and forgets the eyeball on the ground.
Yeah, that would be a little bit unlucky, but we'll see. If they can actually take the second turret, then Echo Fox certainly looking pretty good in this trade, and It looks like they will be able to get it. So despite the fact that they give up first turret, they do get 2 for themselves. TSM grabbed the Rift Herald though, so there's an opportunity cost to that, but there is the potential to get a lot out of it as well. And they are now kind of collapsing here on the mid lane. 4 TSM members, they're going to look to try to bully down this mid lane.
Flash ult available on both Mithy and Grig. Grig, no Predator just yet. Is still waiting on that cooldown to come back up onto the boots. TSM just continuing to roam around as a squad, though. Push these lanes up, put themselves in a good spot, maintain priority, and make Echo Fox answer. When you're up against a scrappy team like this, when you're up against guys who are always looking to force the fights, just make them play around objectives instead.
Honestly, really nice job here from TSM. They do end up getting the mid lane turret. I would prize that pretty highly, and they're going to move it over onto this dragon. So pretty good objective play. The gold is basically dead even. TSM's only real advantage has been that dragon.
Oh, the TP's coming in from Huni, though, behind TSM. This is going to be a big team fight. That's 4 hit by the first part of the Horn. It's going to be 3 knocked out by the second. The root comes through. It's a lot of damage going in onto TSM right now, but can Echo Fox follow it up? Hanser onto the front line, going to be taken very low, but Bjergsen has bursted Huni. It's a 1-for-0 plus a Drake going the way of TSM.
Yeah, Huni, it just felt like he really wanted to get something there. He's already committed the ultimate, committed a TP. The dragon was gone, and it looked like the rest of his team was trying to back up. But Huni is going forward. He goes down while Hanser just gets to use that ultimate to come right back up. And TSM is already pushing on the bottom side as well. Really making some nice moves around the map.
At the same time, Echo Fox does a good job answering. They're saying, all right, the fight went bad. We lost a guy, we lost a Drake, whatever, regroup, see what we can take. There you go. Go middle, find that turret. It's still going to be 3 turrets to 3 overall. Echo Fox does a good job at answering TSM's objective game in that respect, but this fight just doesn't work.
Yeah, here is the TP from Huni one more time. The engage is good, but you can see Echo Fox is not really fully committing to it. Demonte was chasing over to Grig, and then look at the rest of Echo Fox. It looks like they're backing off, right? Like this 3-man squad is moving out as Huni is going in, so some poor communication and coordination there from Echo Fox in the team fight, and TSM simply turns on Huni, bursts him down, and then is able to get out. And while the gold is very, very close, not a big deal on either side, it is TSM with 2 dragons to 0.
One of those being Infernal, one of those being Ocean. More damage, more regeneration. Serve TSM pretty well as time goes on.
And you also have to take in consideration the fact that not only did they get those 2 dragons to 0, they got it with a bottom lane that was losing. So that kind of just means they have outmaneuvered their opponents across the map, and certainly you're going to be happy, I think, about their position from here. That being said, Echo Fox still has easily the potential to win a team fight and flip this game on its head.
Especially with items coming online now. Both AD carries have had their first item done for a while. You've got the Luden's Echo on the Syndra, meaning the burst is that much scarier than it's normally going to be. Still stacking the Archangel Staff into the Seraph's Embrace for Demonte's Rise. He's up to 500 out of 750 on those stacks. Black Cleaver also done for Hanser, means that Aatrox's big first scary bruiser item is done. He's moving on to the second one with Caulfield's Warhammer in the inventory. As the gold still only stays 600 apart, Azael. That's kind of what we were talking about with, yeah, TSM's doing a good job outmaneuvering their opponents, but it's also Echo Fox doing a good job answering those maneuvers. Even if they aren't the ones in the driver's seat, they're responding appropriately to those movements.
Yeah, they really have been, but here they are again. TSM is collapsing, though.
Hanser once again going to lose the passive, getting value out of it every time so far. Grig's going to be in some trouble, isolated around multiple Echo Fox members, does get taken down. Moss grabbing the kill credit. Now it's Huni onto the front line, looking to find even more. He retreats as TSM's counterattack reigns true, and Huni's on the ground once more. Sven grabs the kill.
Yeah, the trade of kills there. Grig for Huni is... It looked like it was going to be a heavily Echo Fox favored fight, but the collapse came in from TSM, and once again, Huni kind of segments himself from the rest of the team. Bjergsen kind of cutting off that angle for Echo Fox to follow up on Huni's fight. Means that they get another kill there, and Huni is fairly squishy at this point of the game to magic damage because he has built, the Iceborne, he has built Tabbies, there's no
Zero
HP, there's no MR on that. Just has a little bit from this Catalyst, and here it is one more time. Dardoch and Huni want to go for the play on Hanser, but Hanser's ultimate really has been getting so much value, as you called out, bringing up that revive. Drake does get focused down, but Sven flashing over the wall, committing to this play. And it looks like Echofox could have just taken the 1 for 0, but Huni, again, flashes in. The ultimate from Zen kind of zones away a lot of Echofox, and then the fact that Bjergsen is between Echofox and the rest of the team means they can't get to Huni, and he gets taken down.
Also important to note, the entirety of that fight was 4 versus 5. Demonte was in the top lane the entire time. Did have teleport available, chose not to use it there. So while it was 1 for 1, more resources were invested by TSM, so you could say there's a little bit of a win there for Echofox and allowing their mid laner to get some more farm in the top side, build up that economy, so when he does show up to the next fight, he's going to be that much stronger, but at the same time, next Infernal Drake Azale is only 90 seconds away, and I guarantee you both teams are going to want to fight for that.
Yeah, Bjergsen's just at such a ridiculously strong point in the game for Syndra. Coming into this Infernal fight, he already has the first Infernal. He has double spell pen items and his Ludens, so that is one-shot territory onto the Varus. I don't think it even matters if he gets black shielded. If you get a full combo with a lot of orbs down, Varus likely dies through everything. So you have to be so careful about how you play out these next fights. But you also have 2 items on Sven, and that is a really big deal there. You have the item completion just coming through kind of faster right now for TSM. We'll see if Echofox has time to complete their items to get back to base, but with Zeke's 2 items on Sven, you know, this double spell pen and everything completed for Bjergsen, I kind of favor them in the next team fight.
Echofox will try to move down into the bottom part of the river right now, setting up some vision for this next Drake, wanting to make sure that they've got control of the area early, force TSM to walk into their vision, maybe put them in a disadvantageous spot.
Dardoch
wants to come around behind here, Chains of Corruption go through. They're looking to go onto Sven, goes into that ulti immediately. As Minty comes back around, he's going to be juggled right back towards the rest of the team. Instead, Stealth going to be kept alive as Lost is in some trouble. Haunter's looking to find the damage. Quick grabs the kill into Dardoch, who goes a little bit too deep. It's still just going to be 1 for 1 so far, as Haunter's still trying to find even more. Hooney's going to be tanking up so much damage yet again. Stunned up, brought down. Haunter grabbing the kill, and TSM makes it 2 for 1.
Yeah, they get 2 for 1 there. Both summoners are off of Loss as well, as Bjergsen just blows the ultimate on Hooney to knock him down. As we said, no MR really purchased up for him just yet. And now it's TSM who can look to make the move onto the Dragon, but Echofox are trying to control space in the air. They're trying to get time for Dardoch and Hooney to arrive to the scene. Giving up double Infernal to a fed Syndra would be bad news.
I really like what Bjergsen is doing to Hooney in these fights. He doesn't care about the fact that that's normally a tank. He's abusing the lack of MR, and he's destroying the front line and allowing his team to just fight front to back like that. And Smoothie is deleted. That means Infernal Drake goes the way of TSM, and we are once again back to this beautiful sepia tone.
We are back to a pause here, but TSM in full control now. Double Infernal really is a huge advantage here, especially when you are looking at these, damage dealing characters. You have a DPS top laner with the Aatrox. You have this is kind of assassin mid laner. Yes, it is a mage, but essentially the way it works is similar to assassin, because if you can get past the damage threshold of a 1 combo,
I kill you before you move.
Exactly. You become so much stronger. Like, being able to 100% someone is ridiculously better than being able to 80% or 90%. And with double Spell Pen, with the Ludens, with double Infernal, Bjergsen likely is going to hit those sorts of numbers. And it's also part of the reason he could attack Hooney here, who hasn't built any flat MR. He's facing up against a lot of flat Spell Pen here from Bjergsen. And Bjergsen has just been able to kind of execute the tanks
in the team fight. Yeah, Meteos, it's been a long fight. Well, never mind. I will ask you this question later. As we jump back into the game, we're going to throw it out to the casters for the call.
The 60
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It has been a hot minute, but we are once again back here to bring you game number 1. Remember, things were rolled back a little bit before the fatal Syndra E that could not be seen. That means Smoothie didn't walk up, didn't get himself killed there, but TSM was still able to find themselves victory in the bottom part of the river, securing that ever so important second Infernal Drake.
Yeah, exactly. So the gold lead, not too big, but again, it is about those neutrals. It is about the double Infernal in particular, as you pointed out. Going to be so big for Hans, or for Sven, and for Bjergsen here.
You can see Sven trying to get cheeky there with the feathers, steal away that blue buff. Demonte's got it for himself, but over the wall comes Mithy, forces out the flash from the Echofox mid laner to keep himself alive.
Yeah, nicely done there. Doesn't actually cost Mithy too much, just the ultimate gets a flash. They also got Seraphs out of Demonte there, so not much left for him in the way of defenses. And This is actually pretty interesting. It looks like Haunter is going for a Ghost Blade second. This is becoming a little bit more popular just as a way to actually get into the back line with the Aatrox ultimate, because as you know, when you pop the Aatrox ultimate, you get a burst of speed, and you can actually just kind of pop a Ghost Blade, and you start just becoming this race
Really
car
fast.
zooming in on top of people with that ultimate. So it's not something that we used to see very much of. This build also allows you to get to 40% CDR very quickly because he is going for the 10% CDR talent in Sorcery. You grab your Caulfields right after the Black Cleaver, boom, already 40%. You can start to spam it out and can be pretty powerful.
Once you hit 40% CDR on Aatrox, after the third Q hits, there's like 2 seconds before you can fire off the first Q again. So it's almost a constant Q dance coming out from this guy to make sure that that damage threat is never ending. And until Huni does have a Warmogs, as we were talking about earlier, one of those items he could be building with the Kindle Gem, you can see he didn't actually sell the refillable for a Ruby Crystal this time around, as happened last time. Instead, still just sitting on that Kindle Gem. But until he does have that regeneration, he is not going to enjoy himself in that 1 versus 1 as TSM push down the top side. Tier 2 under fire taken down. That's free objective for the side of TSM.
And look at all the vision they already have set up around Baron, but Huni is TPing in. Echo Fox trying to get a fight, but TSM may be out.
Once again, Echo Fox want to go for this. Huni's still coming around from the side. Sends off the ultimate, doesn't manage to knock it back, and TSM are now separated, rooted up, and taken down. Midley's the first one out of the picture. Smoothie gonna be in some trouble now. They're looking to save him away, but Haunter's still got the damage to dunk him right back down. Lost goes down too. Greg finds the kill onto him, but is he gonna be taken down in his own right? Yes, he will. Shutdown goes over to Demonte, but they lose Dardoch in the process. It's 3 dead on the side of Echo Fox. 2 for TSM.
Yeah, critically, both junglers are dead, so I don't think they can actually go for the Baron here, but Huni hanging around needs to make sure that they don't attempt it. It is +1 kills there, though, for Echo Fox, or rather for TSM, as Echo Fox tried to be the ones to get this engaged. Huni on the side looking for the ultimate, but it's Bjergsen and Grig. Nice timing on the scatter. Oh, he didn't get stunned at all. He just straight up did it way too early, then got Skarner ultimate.
Missed the orange.
On the other side, though, Haunter with a really nice combo. Good timing out of that stopwatch to actually burst down Smoothie. And yeah, in the initial play, I just assumed that he had actually gotten CC'd up, and that caused him to miss the Ornn redirect. Perhaps feeling some pressure to actually get it out earlier, though, because he knew the CC would be incoming. Either way, Huni not able to hit the engage there, and Haunter was caught on this ward. And Huni looks like was able to actually pick up a kill, and no, not quite. Now it's back to live.
Oh, Huni again, 1 and 4 this game.
It did cut out before he got the kill, but Haunter's dead, so I'm assuming he killed him in the brush there where we were in the last replay. Then we went to live, and we see Huni die, so I think he did at least...
We're all over the place, man.
He did at least get the kill on Haunter, and we may find that out from the next replay, but either way, yeah, Huni definitely having a tough time.
And you can see on the side of your screen right now, in the quarterfinals match against TSM, he averaged 4 deaths per game. He's already up to 4 right now, and as the front line, you got to expect you're going to eat a few more shots by the end of the game.
Yeah.
And he needs to make sure that he's not dying senselessly. We've already talked about the communication this game, and I'm not going to say that Orange shouldn't be putting himself out there on the front line to make sure that he's the one soaking all the damage, but I am going to say that they need to make a more coherent effort as a team because it's just not there so far.
Yeah, exactly. It's, you know, it's not necessarily a problem to give up your life as long as what you were getting from that is greater than what you were losing, right? And the guys talked about it a lot on the desk, you know, the importance of having that synergy and being on the same page. It's often more important to do the right, like the wrong call together is better than to do the right call but be split up, right? So it's like, oh, okay, well, actually Huni shouldn't have engaged, so I'm just gonna back off. Well, you're giving up that free kill, whereas perhaps if you commit as a 5-man squad, you could make that work.
You've always got the power of hope and friendship.
There you go.
The other time around, you're just watching your buddy throw himself into the balls of hell.
Is question marking him?
Yeah, you just drop a couple question marks and go back to farming. That's a solo queue way, but that's not the way that's going to get you a victory here in the Gauntlet. That's not the way that's going to punch your ticket to Worlds. That's not the way that's going to bring you back into a spot where you feel like you're in control in this game. Currently down 3,000 gold, down a turret, down 3 elemental drakes, with the next one spawning in 20 seconds. When does it become too much for Echo Fox? When does this start to break? As TSM now gets their jungler knocked up into the air, trying to make the play happen here. Dardoch, good job using the QSS, getting himself away from the Skarner. Damonte's already going to be bursted down. This is going to be big for TSM here, taking down one of the cannons from Echo Fox, as now they've got the opportunity to once more, Azael, seize the neutral objective, as Dardoch will be caught out here, has to flash away from the chains, getting over the wall with the blast cone, but TSM already gets the big game.
Yeah, TSM really starting to feel like they're just in full control. Echo Fox are choosing these fights and losing them as Damonte Realm warps in and just gets deleted there. TSM could just head over to Baron. I think they're going to at least try to threaten it, maybe force out a response when he is in the area. At the very least, they can establish vision.
And I talked about this in the beginning of the game, how the last time these guys played, it was a scrappy first Drake fight that Echo Fox style that backfired and put them behind. In this game, it's happening again. The scrappy style is not working out, as now Echo Fox coming in looking to stop TSM. Hooney's going to be taken very low. Into the pit they go. Baron Nashor secured by the side of TSM. They will lose their top laner, but now they're still trying to fight their way out of here. Damonte goes forward. Gonna be counterattack. Minty's got a huge ult, and that's the team fighting Azael. That's the guys who are the kings of Europe, looking to bring it back here to NA and find that strength yet again. Greg manages to finish off the last of them, and Echo Fox's base is now going to find itself under siege.
Yeah, they can just run it down. They're not going to go for the end because you can see Bjergsen is going mid lane. They're going to try to press for 2 inhibitors here. 1 inhibitor in the top lane certainly going down. They could meet up with Bjergsen in that mid lane, try to go for that, but it looks like TSM 3-man squad actually want to try to end it anyway, so Bjergsen should have been with them. They may just get the 1 inhibitor turret and try to go back. They're just going for it.
They don't even care. Dardoch is the only one up. He's going to be joined soon by Smoothie, but that's still only jungler and support. TSM looking to put the DPS into Dardoch. They'll get him in time. Sven goes unstoppable. Still going to be kept alive. Does get taken down. The binding isn't blocked, and Smoothie grabs the kill into Sven. TSM take down the mid lane inhibitor turret as they take their lead.
A bit of a split call there, though, from TSM. It looked like the 3-man squad was calling to end the game, and Bjergsen is trying to push to get additional turrets in the mid lane. If he had been with them in that top lane, maybe they can actually end the game. There's a lot of AP on this Syndra. He would have done a ton of damage, but either way, TSM massively ahead after this play.
This Mithy ult, keep your eyes on him in this fight.
Yeah, Mithy definitely coming up big in this one. Did get bound up in the Baron. Close to going down, but not quite able to get it. And then you can see as the re-engage was going to come across, Sven pulling backwards. Damonte gets the Banshee's Veil popped, and in goes Mithy, getting all the members there. And Greg with the flash in follow up. They get the ace and the Baron. So much off of that play. And you asked Flowers, when is it too much? Well, welcome to it.
That's when it becomes too much. And you said, Azael, these men are team fighters. They prove themselves in the later stages of the game. And Mithy, right there. You look at games, you look at moments where they're won and lost, and a lot of times you can pinpoint specific instances that really were where a game was either turned or solidified for one team. And that was a solid damn ultimate. That was good.
Yeah, no kidding. Mithy definitely coming up big there. And you have to look no further than the marksman's itemization to understand how big the difference in this game is now. Sven is on 4 items, and Lost is on 2.5. So you know,
feels
he is
bad, man.
massively
good.
behind. Yeah,
Depending on the perception that you're looking at it from. I mean, if you're Sven, this is fantastic. If you're Lost, yeah, exactly. It's all about the perspective. As TSM are focusing in now on this bottom side. Last inhibitor turret still standing. They want to brute force this one down. They've got everybody hanging around here. They're still waiting for Hanser to show up. He's also trying to apply some pressure between the lanes, make sure he can bounce back and forth between bottom and mid as the inhibitor is open.
Yeah, the Superminions are coming in the top. Hanser is going to press for this mid lane inhibitor. TSM just needs to keep the 4-man squad there, and Bjergsen, a lot of damage done on that combo. That was through Black Shield without him using his ultimate. And eventually, someone from Echo Fox has to go answer these super minions. There's only 1 Nexus turret, and it's already low, so TSM just need to play it slow and not get engaged on.
TSM playing this one smart so far. They take down the final inhib turret. Bjergsen finds the damage on the Smoothie, forces him to go into stasis to keep himself alive. Ornalty comes through. Echo Fox's final defense begins here. They're able to find the route down onto the tank. The enemy team is still not going to be enough. Mithy's able to find knockups onto 2. The CC is there. The damage will follow, and Echo Fox is done. TSM repeats what they did in the quarterfinals and takes game 1.
A dominant game 1 victory here for TSM. Close for the first 22-25 minutes. But one team fight in the top side. Echo Fox not able to get the engage. TSM win out on that fight, able to take it into the Baron, a clean ace, and